Angelica Turner with Elizabeth Craft Designs, and welcome to the 25 Days of Craftmas. This is my 12 Flowers of Christmas, part 2. So I have 6 more tags to share with you, each featuring a different flower. So let's get to it. For my first tag, I am going to be using the 2151 Florals 29. That is my main floral. And then all the other materials and products will be listed with the video, so you can go through and see all the supplies that I'm using. The paper I am using is the Holly Jolly Christmas. So I cut my tag from that, and I also, so I'm going to start, let's start with the flowers here. Let's color them and then layer them together. So for the coloring, I have the Rustic Wilderness Distress ink, and I want the flower mostly white. So I'm just going to add a little bit of green to the center. Actually, this is not for coloring, that is for shaping. Here we go. This one will work better. So I'm going to just kind of add a little bit of green in the center, and then pull it over a little bit on each petal. Again, because I want the flower to be white, but I want a little bit of shading. I don't want it completely just flat white. And my little brush is in gold, so I usually use the angled portion of it to do a little bit more detailed coloring. So here is the shading, and I don't know if you can see it a little bit. So I already did the shading on the other flowers, as well as the shading on the leaves. I cut these out of green, light green cardstock, and then shaded with the same green. Here's one right here. And then the flowers as well. So I got 3 of those, 2 the same size and 1 slightly smaller. So for the shaping on these ones, I'm just going to do a basic shaping. Let's see. I'm just going to run my stylus, a medium size tip, from the tip to the center of the flower, and I'm doing this right on the center of each petal. And then I'm just going to, with my fingers, I'm just going to kind of fold them in half. Uh, the crease is already there or marked from the embossing lines from the die cutting. So here is the basic shaping for that. For the leaf, I'm just going to use a slightly larger tip, and I'm just going to run it a little bit from the edge of the leaf to the center line, like that. And then I'm just going to, again, just use that line in the center and fold it a little bit. So here's our leaf shaped. And then for our pine needle branches, I'm just going to take the larger tip, and from the tip of each branch, I'm just going to run the stylus into the center of each branch. Just kind of giving them a little bit of dimension, not a lot. I just don't want them completely flat. So let's get this out of the way. Now my um for this tag, I cut the little basket from red cardstock. Now the flowers I cut from the soft finish cardstock. So this one is cut from red cardstock, dark green cardstock for this ones, a couple of branches, one little branch out of dark brown, and then this one out of a lighter brown, like I think it's a craft cardstock, and then the berries I got from glitter cardstock. And I went ahead and already glued those down. I also have the centers for my flower. I cut those out of green cardstock, and I actually need to shape one of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to face it face down, and I'm going to take a smaller tip and just press into each of the little tips, and then turn it over and just press in the center to lift them. So that is the shaping for the little center. And I have 3 of those. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all 3 of them, but I have 3 of those cut out of cardstock, green cardstock. And then I have the reinforcement pieces for the barrel out of gold cardstock. So let's see if, let's get it all together. So my flowers, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in the center and make sure I offset my petals and glue it down, press it down. Same thing for the smaller one. Glue in the center and then press it down. making sure I offset my petals and center it. So that is my flower right there. Now for this piece, go ahead and glue down the reinforcement pieces. So glue those in place. Okay, that's one, and then one more piece for that. Oops, that move that over. Okay, so that's that. And I'm going to do the arrangement. So I think the first thing I want is I want this popped a little bit. So I want some foam dots on it instead of just flat. I'm just going to place some dots on the back. And then remove the backing. And then go ahead and center it at the base of my tag. On my tag, I went ahead and inked the edges with Festive Berries Distress ink. So I went ahead and inked the edges. I glued down a gold reinforcer on that. So this first one, since it's going in the background, I am going to do place in one piece. I'm not going to cut it apart. I'm going to place that there. Then we have this little branch. Get that to stay. And we have this one. I think I'm going to place right there. I will not cut this one apart either. Just going to place it there. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of place the flower since it's the focal piece. And I want that closer to the end of the, or the edge of the container or bucket. And then my holly leaves, just adding a little bit and tucking them underneath the flower. Up to more over here. And it's always easier to have the flower placement and then just tuck everything underneath it. It works a lot faster. So here is the placement of the flower. I also have, and then let's build up these with these branches right here. I'm going to cut this one separate too, so it's easier to move around in the floral arrangement. Now I already created 6 of these with 6 other flowers, and you can catch that video on the Elizabeth Craft Designs blog. That was, I believe, day number 5. So you can, if you haven't watched it yet, you can check it out. I create 12 tags total. So I have 6 tags on part 1 and the other 6 tags on part 2, which is uh, today's post, and that is day 19. Trying to get this one in there to stay, and it's not. It's kind of moving around. Let's get all of these little branches in there, make it a fuller arrangement. And once I get all of these done, I'm thinking out, because I'm a little behind on my card making for this year, I am going to actually, I believe they will work great if I take each one of these tags and put it and make cards out of them. So instead of just doing the tag, I'm going to create a card base for it, and then make them Christmas cards. I'll probably just add a little Christmas sentiment and a couple of little finishing touches on the card, and they will be ready for Christmas cards. So this will get me hopefully closer to finishing all my Christmas cards this year. And as you can see, that is building the little arrangement nicely with all the little pine needle branches. And it's a really nice contrasting color to the red in the background, the white of the flower, the red of the pail or basket. So there, and then gonna do the centers real quick. So this one is a little flatter. And then I wanted the centers to be green as well, to kind of pick that color from the center. Just stylus. It'll work better to press in the center. There we go. Okay, one more. And when I lay in the centers, I also make sure I offset each little piece. So I rotate them a little bit and offset them. This makes the center look a lot fuller. And there we go. Okay, the stylus works really well to they got a little bit flatter than I usually like them. Okay, and then we have this little branch with the berries. So I am going to cut this one apart so I can tuck it in around the arrangement. I have one branch there. And I'm going to probably kind of cut around this one. So that's another branch. This one ended up a little short, but we'll figure out how to get them in here. I think this one's a little bit too long. Okay, there's one, two. Put one there. And there. Okay, so that worked out really well. Turn it around so I can see where it's gluing. Okay. So I'm gluing this one. This one will go kind of centered. And we'll glue on this one as well. Okay. And the smaller piece will go, if I can get it in the right place. With all the little branches here, it's getting kind of stuck. And it does not want to stay in place. There we go. Okay, I kind of... So here we go. Tag number 7. Love just the contrast of the big floral with the reds in the background and then the dark green. Tag number 7. On to tag number 8. Tag number 8, I'm using the 2124 Mini Florals 2 as my main flower, and I'm using the small little, looks like little poinsettias. So that is my main flower. For this one, I am using as well the Holly Jolly paper, Holly Jolly Christmas paper. I ink the edges with Festive Berries Distress ink around the edges to get rid of the white core of the paper. I cut the decorative border from white glitter cardstock, and that is going to sit right here, centered on down the middle of my tag. So let's get a little bit of glue. They're very delicate and intricate designs. These are always a lot of fun to design. I love designing decorative and intricate dies. they always come in handy to decorate or add that nice decorative piece or elegant design to your projects. So I always find that I like having some kind of decorative die, either a full size like a 5x7 frame or borders. Okay, so let's put this down the center. And I had already trimmed it to fit the tag. So I had already trimmed all the edges here, and it kind of moved a little bit, and I can see some of the glue, but once it dries, it'll be completely clear. Plus, I have a whole wreath that is going to go on top of that, so that will get covered as well. I have a gold reinforcer for the tag. Okay, so that is my base of my tag. I cut out, I think I have 2, 4, 6, 8 total of this little branch piece. Again, everything is going to be linked with the blog, with the video when it posts. So here I have a couple of flowers I already shaped for the other flowers. So I have a couple of them here that I haven't shaped. These are so tiny, so they're a lot, so very simple to shape. I'm just pulling from the tip of each petal and pushing in the center. They're very little, so it doesn't take a lot of shaping. And then for these ones, I'm just pushing in the center, and I'm using a small tip. So pushing in the center, and I think I want a little bit on the back as well. I want them to flip over a little bit instead of being completely straight up. These are always a little tricky because they're so small, but there you go. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Glue this little flower together. A little bit of glue in the center, and offset, again, offsetting my petals. Once that's glued, again, a little bit of glue in the center, and then my gold center. Like that. So there's a flower right there. So for the wreath, I'm going to start layering. So I'm just going to add glue to the tip right here. And that's what I'm going to glue down to start. And I'm going to glue this one right in the center. Okay. And then I'm going to get the other one. Same thing, glue just on the tip. And I'm putting that one about 2/3 into the 2/3 down the previous one. Same thing on this one. And the glitter paper is being a little difficult. It always takes a while for things to dry on glitter paper. Next one up, again, same thing. Just glue on the bottom tip, this part right here, and then just overlap underneath all the other branches. Next one. Then we got 2 more to go here. Hopefully I got them spaced right so it doesn't look like one side is fuller than the other. And there we go. Now they're a little, so there we go. Okay, so now that we have that, I have a little bow that I got from gold cardstock. This one is part of one of Annette Josette's sets from her little cute little mice sets. I think this is part of the Christmas set. So I just cut both pieces out of gold cardstock, a little bit of glue, and then that is my bow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue behind all of these branches right here, since uh, they are sitting right behind the bow. So that's that one. Then we have our little flowers. Let's see where I want to place them. And I have these other little branches that I wanted to use to put give the flowers a little bit of extra leaves, I guess. So I am going to trim those to separate them. So let's see how these ones work. Okay, I like the idea of the extra little branch. And that one needs another one. A little bit of glue on both sides. Okay, let's cut all of these ones down. Jumped out of my hands, a little bit of glue on both sides. Put this one there. And then the flower. Okay, I think that's coming together nicely. Next two pieces. Press it down. Have another little branch here. And the flower. Then two more branches, and I need one more for the larger, or that one at the top. Here's two more little branches for this flower. So here I'm just doing 5 flowers, so you can fill up the whole um, wreath with flowers. That would be such a beautiful little card or tag. Here's one more, and this is my last flower. Right next to the bow. Make sure everything is down. Okay, so that is tag number 8. Really happy how it looks. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so here we go, tag number 9. My focal flower for this one is 2182, Florals 32. I'm using the Joyous Christmas paper collection for this one. Cut my tag in edge, shaded the edges with a rustic wilderness ink, just to get rid of that white core. I do have a reinforcer cut from red cardstock for this one. I do have my flowers here, and they are all cut from soft finish cardstock. I added a little bit of green to the centers. And for the shaping, what I'm doing is I don't know if you can see it on this one. I want the petal kind of folded in half. You can see that line better. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking detail tweezers here, and I'm just bringing it all the way and then just folding it. And that is giving me a nice straight fold down the center of each petal. So here we go. So each petal is folded, and I just need these to kind of raise up a little bit. So I'm going to pull a little bit from the base of each petal into the center, and see how they kind of just pop up real easily. And then I have these tiny little red flowers. Again, all of this is going to be linked with a video. And I'm going to, on the back of each flower, these are cut from a red cardstock. I'm taking a small stylus tip and going from the tip of each petal into the center on the back, and then I'm turning them over and pressing straight down the center with a smaller tip. So that gives you this little flower. So I already have all of those flowers, the rest of the flowers shaped with in that way. And then for my leaves, I'm just going to take a stylus and pull from the edge of the leaf to the center, and then use the center line to just kind of fold it a little bit. That's that. These ones I already shaped them, but the easy way is take a large tip and then just kind of pull it into the center a little bit to give them a little bit of dimension. Uh, so for this tag, I have one of my decorative frames cut from red cardstock. I also have the candy cane from one of Josette's mice sets. This is a Christmas set. I cut one layer of white glitter cardstock, the top layer from red glitter cardstock, and then I cut, I believe, an additional 4 layers of white smooth cardstock. I wanted to add a little bit of thickness to this piece. So there's a total of, I think, 6 layers there. The branch cut from brown cardstock, and the berries from red glitter cardstock. I already did all the gluing because that's ton of little leaves to or little berries to glue. So let me assemble the flower real quick and let it dry while I put together the rest of the stuff. Again, so I have two different sizes of flowers here, 3 each. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in the center and offset the petals. Now I'm not offsetting them center completely because I have 3 of each. So I'm offsetting them almost like in a third on each one. So you end up with something like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other 3 flowers that are all the same size. I'm just going to center it, but offsetting the petals slightly, about a third of the way. Doing the same thing with the next one, about a third of the way. And then my last flower, same thing. So when you offset them like this, you end up with a really nice looking flower like that. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside and let it uh, dry a little bit while we assemble the rest of the. So I'm going to have my frame. Excuse me. I'm just going to add some glue on the inner edge of that frame. Maybe a little bit over here and here. And then just kind of centered to the overall shape of the tag. Like that. Then we have our little candy cane, our flower, uh, these ones. Okay, I'm going to have to again separate or cut apart. Again, a lot easier to do the I guess it depends. If you have something that just requires the branch together, they come in very handy when they are in one piece. But I find myself that the way I always put projects together, I always, cutting my branches apart. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place my um, candy cane like that. And then the holly leaves. And as you can see, I find it so fun to be able to create all these different flower arrangements with any type of flower you have handy. It's always a little difficult gluing a cardstock onto glitter paper. So okay, so I have my leaves and I'm going to go ahead and place my flower again. This is the main flower of the arrangement. So I want to have that in place so I can then start tucking in everything else around it. It makes it a lot easier creating the arrangement. That, and I also have a little berry branch that I'm going to cut apart so it's easier to arrange with everything else, with all the other elements. Now I'm not sure if this is going to be a little bit too long, but here we go. Okay, now that I have that, I want to see where can I tuck in these little branches. I don't want them to be all over the um, okay. I don't want them to cover up the candy cane itself. I want to be able to see that candy cane. So I need to place this ones kind of over here underneath the holly leaves. Good. Okay. Then all of these on this side. And you can see how having them um, all these little branches or all these pine needle branches cut apart make it so much easier to create the arrangement however you want it. It's always you can just put things wherever you want. Okay, one more. I'm just going to do this one over here. Okay, and then let's see a couple of these ones. I don't know if I'm going to use them all. This one shorter. Okay, I think I like that placement. Just skipped right out of my hand. That, and then the second one over here on this side. This one. And I think I just need to cut this one a little bit. Like that. And this one. So turn a little bit and then place it over here. Plenty of room. I love the sparkle of the red. Okay, and then I have these little flowers. I wanted to just do a couple of little red flowers with the white ones, or with a large white flower. Let's see where I can place them. Just adding a little bit of glue in the center and tucking them in around the pine needle. Okay, there's one over here. I think that's good. I'm just going to put some little rhinestones in the center. Those little red flowers. And that will complete this piece or this tag. So for the center of the main flower, I'm just going to add a little bit of these little green frills just to finish off the center of that large flower. Move them in place. And here we go. Tag number 9, all complete. Just love how that turned out. On to the next one. Okay, here we are at tag number 10. For this one, I am using 2154 Florals 30 as one of my main flowers, as well as 2096 Wildflower 1 as the secondary flower. The paper is the Joyous Christmas paper. Cut my tag and edge the ink the edges with Rustic Wilderness ink. I have a little reinforcer already cut from gold cardstock. Go ahead and glue that one in place. For my flower, so I already have these ones colored, and I colored the back in the front because I didn't want that stark white to show. I cut them from white soft finish cardstock. So first thing, not shaping, but coloring. Okay, so for the coloring, I'm using the Festive Berries ink and a little brush, and I'm just going to start the color from the edge of each petal. I want some lighter shade in the center of each petal. So as you can see, I'm just kind of brushing the color and I'm going to add a little bit more color in the center. Like that. And there you go. So that's the front. And the back was already, I had already colored the back. Let's kind of take down a little bit of that starkness of the white. So that's the coloring. I already colored the rest of the flowers. So for the shaping, I have these small little flowers that I already cut out of red cardstock. And then I have the centers as well. The centers are, these ones are cut out of white soft finish cardstock. So for the shaping, first I am going to take the small tip and then just run it down about a third of the way down and towards the center of each leaf or each petal on the back side. Once I do that, then I'm switching to a slightly larger size and I'm just pulling from the halfway from the each petal to the center. And then you end up like that. So that is the large flower. For the smaller ones, I'm just going to take a smaller tip and then pull it from the tip of each petal towards the center on the back of the flower, and then turn it over and just press in the center. one more to do. And as you can see, you can cut your flowers from any type of cardstock. You can color them. You can just do solid cardstock, color cardstock. Excuse me. And then for my centers, I'm going to place them face down, and then just kind of go on the back of each tip, from the tip towards the center a little bit, and give them a little bit of dimension. Just curl them a little bit, and then on the center, on the front of the piece, just press straight down. And you have your shaped flower center. I'm doing the same thing to the smaller size on the back, and then the center. Okay, the pine needle branches, larger tip, just kind of down the middle a little bit to give them a little bit of dimension. Leaves down the center a little bit, and then just kind of fold them a little bit down that center score line. So that's the shaping, coloring and shaping for these flowers. So now for this tag, I wanted to use Frida at Home from Esther. I'm calling her Frida Celebrates Christmas. So I cut her from just, it's not white, it's like an off-white cardstock, added a little bit of rouge to her cheeks. And then I'm going to uh, cover these flowers with some of my florals. So she is going to be all decked out for Christmas. Now I think I am going to do some foam tape on her, or foam dots. I want a little bit of dimension. So let's go ahead and place her about there. And then I'm going to go ahead and arrange the flowers around. Instead of these flowers right here, we're going to have the dimensional flowers. So I got one there, another one here, and I'm going to do 2 layers on these red flowers. Again, a little bit of glue in the center, and offset the petals. One more. Same thing, glue in the center, offset the petals. Like that. Again, these ones, a little bit of glue, offsetting the petals. Same thing for the smaller one. Offset the petals. And then let's see all of these centers. I think I'm going to do the centers last after I maybe I'll just do them and let them dry a little bit. So large center to large flower. I just want leaving them white. I want the contrast of the red flower and the white centers. I'm doing, on this one, I'm doing 3 layers. And I think I'll do, let's see how the little ones look. So got 1 layer. Trying to kind of rotate this one a little bit so it's offset. It's not completely. There we go. That's better. And then 1 more. Again, you want to offset them a little bit so they're not completely aligned. There we go. So that's the 2 flowers. I have a couple of extra ones. That's fine. Okay, now I think I want this flower here, this one, and then we got another extra small one, so that's be on this end over here. And offset those petals. They don't want to offset. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then we have our holly leaves, which I'm going to cut apart as well as the gold ones, so I can manipulate better where they are going to sit in placement with all the flowers. Same thing with the pine branches, just got separating them, cutting them apart, so I have better control of where they will sit. Okay, so I am going to just kind of get an idea where these leaves are going to go for each flower. And then we have these ones as well, and the gold ones. Okay, so let's see here. Start with this one. One so close to the face. And one over here. Large flower. I'm just going to take my, I don't want the petals to be so close to her face. So I gotta shift them out. There we go. That's better. Then this one. This is too long. It might come up. A little bit out. Then this one. And then the smaller flower. Again, I want to make sure that it doesn't, it's not too much in her face or covering her chin. And then the smaller flower. Just kind of tuck it in next to this leaf. There we go. There we go. Okay, then we got kind of like that, but they're too big now to put on behind the okay, so now we need to place some of these around the arrangement with the gold ones as well, just to kind of give it go. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue all of these. I like the idea of having all these holly leaves and the pine needle branches kind of surround Frida here. Make her look all festive for the holidays. I got stuff jumping all over the place. Here we go. There's that one. Another one of the gold leaves here. press it down so I get it to stay down in place. And adding or having the foam dots uh, on Frida kind of helps me kind of tuck in everything. So I'm going to need these ones as well. Kind of complete the arrangement. Okay, I think that's good. One more over here with another one of the gold leaves. Okay, then this leaf over here, also that over here with the flowers. And we have two more little pine needle leaves that need to be glued. And one more. Okay. And the finishing touch for those little flowers is putting a little bit of bling, a little bit, a couple of adhesive rhinestones. Can have Frida and that sparkle here. Can get this one to stay in place. There we go. Press them in place. And I think that's it. That is our Frida Celebrates Christmas. And that will make a really cute Christmas card once I place it on a, get my card bases all taken care of. So that is tag number 10. Okay, here we are at tag number 11. Pattern paper is from the Holly Jolly Christmas collection. Ink the edges with Festive Berries ink to get rid of the white core. My main flower on this collection is 2181, Florals 31. And for my flowers, I have them in red. So let's go ahead. I already colored and shaped 3 of them. I have 2 of this size and 2 of the smaller size. So let's go ahead and color this one, coloring with the Festive Berries. And I'm starting from the center and just kind of pulling the color towards the tip of the petal. So my darker color is going to be in the center. I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush and just kind of pull that color towards the tips of my petals. I want the color very rich and solid in the center and then just kind of fade out towards the tips. Okay, and I had already colored the back of it solid, so that is done. Put some over here. Let me clean my hands because they're covered in ink. Okay, so now that I have that colored, let's go ahead and shape it real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and just use a medium and just kind of run it down the center and soften the cardstock. I'm pulling from the tip towards the center of the flower and down. Most of my pressure is down the middle of my petal. And then I'm going to just use the tweezers and kind of roll it over on one side first. I had already colored the back of the flower with a brush, just took it, colored the whole back. The flowers are cut from soft finish cardstock. And now I'm just using the tweezers to kind of curl the petals a little bit. Because I use the stylus to soften the cardstock a little bit, it makes it easier to do the curling. And put this out of the way. So now let's go ahead and layer these together. Some glue in the center. Next side, next flower. So I have two of each size. Glue in the center and then offset the petals. Next one. Same thing, center and offset the petals. And then the next one, same thing. Stylus kind of press down, make sure they are glued. And here is our flower. So that's our main flower. So for my tag, um, I'm using the pattern with the snowflakes. And I created a snowflake from the stars one, the small, but instead of using it the way it's die cut in 3D, I took off the cardstock to fold it and then just cut the points and cut a little circle and glued all the points into that circle, covered it in glue, and then covered it in a crystal glitter. It probably, I don't think the video is catching it, but it is very sparkly. So that is going to be the base. On that, I'm going to do my flower, and then all my little branches are white as well. So I just wanted red and white. My little berry branch, I cut two of white cardstock, glue them together, and then covered the berries with white gold micro beads. So this one I am going to cut it apart so I can get it positioned in the right place. So I'm just going to separate each of these branches. It's a little thicker with double, but I wanted the sturdiness. So now that I have all of my pieces, I'm going to go ahead and glue, and I did this off camera just because it did take a bit to get them to glue together, and then the glitter. So I did that overnight and let it sit so it completely dried, and I didn't have any problems with the glitter later on. So that is glued in place. Then I have these two little branches that I think I am going to cut as well into a couple of little pieces. So we have that, this, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. It's a bit longer than I wanted. So same thing, just kind of placing them right now to get a better idea of how they are going to line up. And then we have all of these that are also going to have to go in here. Okay, so these ones, gluing them on top of this glitter piece is going to be tricky, so I'm going to hot glue them. And these ones, the little branches, I am going to put behind the uh, behind the snowflake, so that the snowflake doesn't get covered so much. So I'm just going to kind of tuck these in behind the snowflake. Kind of give it a little bit of fuller. Another one over here. Okay, I don't like that, so I'm going to glue these ones behind the snowflake instead of, it's a little bit long, instead of gluing them on top or behind the flower. It's also too long. There we go. Use my tweezers, kind of press everything in place. That one. I like glue this. I have my hot glue gun warming up so I can glue everything on top of the snowflake. Make sure all of these are trimmed a little bit. And then one more. Okay, so here are kind of all the pieces, trying to get these to get glue behind this snowflake. So that's that. Okay, so now let's try to glue this once. Make sure with this they glue down. The only thing with hot glue is you have to be exact where you want it before it cools down, because once it's down, that is it. But it does glue fast, especially on top of something with all that glitter like I have here. Okay, and then the flower, just press it down. There we go. And we do have some of these. Little berry branches. Okay. Just going to do glue on this one since they're going behind the snowflake directly on the cardstock or the paper, so I don't have to worry about the glitter creating problems for gluing. Just up glue on the pieces and then tuck them in behind the star. There we go. Oh, one more. That one's not glued down. Okay, so now let's do some micro beads in the center of the flower real quick. I'm just going to fill the center with glue. Good amount of glue because I want it completely filled up with the micro beads. Push them in with my fingertip. I'm just using my tweezers to kind of get them down into the center. Okay. And here we go. Tag number 11. Okay, here we are on tag number 12. For this particular one, I'm using 2152 Lace Florals. The paper is from the Joyous Christmas paper collection. I cut my tag, and what I did with this one, I already did it ahead of time so as to not make the video so long, but I cut a couple of different sizes of the lace florals from the same pattern paper I used to cut the die cut. I inked the edges a little bit with the iced spruce ink on both that tag and each floral. I then glued the florals to the tag and then added a little bit of pieces here. I trimmed everything to match the shape of the tag, and then I came back with the ink and inked the edges again as to get rid of some of that white core from the florals. So as you can see, you end up with something like this. Again, the florals, the flowers, and the tag are both cut from the same pattern paper. I also cut from the same paper, I cut this little holly branch. I have some of the pine needle branches, and the florals for my main flower on these are cut from rose gold glitter cardstock. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shaping to the flower, and for this one it doesn't need a lot, so I'm just adding a little bit from the tip of each petal to the center just to bring up the petals a little bit. I have three different sizes on the flower, and then on the um, pine needle branch, I'm just again pulling it from the tip to the center, bringing in some of those pine needles and a little bit so they're not completely flat. And then for the leaves, I just went on the back side of each leaf, pulled it in from the tip to the base of the leaf, and then touch it a little bit at the base because that's where the glue is going to go. So that is the shaping for these. So as to the um, arrangement I'm going to do here, I am going to, again, cut these ones apart because they don't work the way they are into what I want to do with them right now. So I am going to cut them apart. Uh, and then this one as well, I'm going to cut all the holly leaves off this branch. I'll just make be a little easier. Now, because this is glitter cardstock and I didn't want to sit here and hold everything, I am going to glue it with some hot glue real quick. So it's a lot quicker. Ah, gluing to that table. Okay, and then the next one, a little bit of hot glue, and then the last flower. And that makes it, of course I have hot glue threads everywhere, but that's a lot easier, especially with glitter cardstock. The glue takes forever. Since I had the hot glue gun already warmed up, I just figured this will be the easiest way. Okay, for the, I want my flower right here. And then we're going to go ahead and build the arrangement around it. Like that. Some of my holly leaves. Like that. Just trying to see if I'm going to need all three branches. I think I want all three branches to be part of the arrangement. So I'm going to do, since there's no glitter on the back, I'm just going to glue it down. And then build it around it, as always, because it's just so much easier to do it that way instead of kind of eyeballing things before you glue the flower. And then sometimes when I do that, my flower, the arrangement just does not end up in the right place, so it kind of just doesn't work out as easy as this. Okay, tweezers to press that down. And again, you can do as many or as little of these little pine needle branches as you want. I mean, it's the fun of this is you get to be creative, just kind of play with your project until you get it just the way you want it. Some of these smaller ones will be good to do over here. Just trying to kind of build the arrangement around that flower so it kind of looks this one is too long. That one's too long as well. I like the idea of this one going down the side of the tag. Like that. Put that in place, and then we got one more right there. Put that in place. Then we have the holly leaves that are going to sit on top of the pine branches, and you have that contrast of the color of the holly leaves against darker color of the pine needles, especially because the holly leaves were cut from the same cardstock as the pattern paper, as the tag, and the florals on the tag. So I'm just tucking them in around the flower, and these are underneath the flower, right on top of the holly leaves. Okay, and oh, I have one that hasn't been glued down. It's always a little something getting left behind. Okay, and I have these adhesive pearls that are almost the same color as the ink, and they go very well with the color of the cardstock. So I'm going to actually glue it with a little bit of hot glue just because of that glitter paper. Clean some of that hot glue off. And here we go. Tag number 12. This another tag, perfect for a card, just with a little Merry Christmas sentiment on it, and it's ready. Thank you so much for joining me again on part 2 of my 12 Flowers of Christmas. Hope you enjoyed my tutorials. Hope you learned something new. Looking forward to seeing what you create with all our florals and Elizabeth Craft Designs die sets. So thank you again for joining me, and until next time, goodbye.